Maddie May, that's right, friend of the podcast. We're going to take a stroll down memory lane, the top 5 Connor Cook moments at Michigan State. But first, yes, just like we called it late in the last episode, MSU football will be kicking off on Friday night. Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, how on earth are we all doing? Hope you have a fantastic start to your week. And, well, I know I'm having a great start to my week because I'm having great friend of the program, Maddie May. That's right, a man with nothing to plug except his own self on today's show. Maddie, how on earth are we doing, man? We enjoying the offseason so far?
I'm having a wonderful offseason. It's a nice balmy 40 degrees and miserable in Chicago. Yep. I'm drinking a very cold coffee that I forgot about. And for those of you who are listening at home, I am green screened in front of Rick's American Cafe. So just enjoying the feeling of like I'm waiting in line in finals week to get in and pay my $5 so that I can proceed to try to drink a pitcher of Long Island iced teas. I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about my favorite MSU alumni, the con man himself, Connor Cook, CC18, baby. I'm so excited.
Connor could not join us for today's episode, and not just because, he reached out and said he couldn't do it. Actually, quite the opposite. I've tried to reach out to Connor a few times, and I feel like I'm one more email away from a full-on restraining order placed against me from the Connor Cook camp. But until then, we're going to enjoy this freedom right now. We're going to talk about the man because he is a lot of our favorite players of all time at Michigan State. If not favorite, then probably squarely in the top 5, if not top 10. Just a man that delivered a lot of great memories here. But first, we got to talk about the news of the day, Maddie May. And it's nothing earth-shattering. It's nothing world-changing. But hey, instead of Michigan State football kicking off their season against Central Michigan on Saturday, that game has been moved to Friday. And if you're a State fan at home and you're thinking like, God, I feel like that happens every single year. No, you're not going crazy. That's actually the 9th time in the last 13 years that Michigan State will open the season with a Friday night game. So there you have it. That is the news. And you know what? I'm just going to keep talking. I'm sorry, Maddie. But if you were one of the 14 people that listened to the very end of the Saturday episode that we dropped, we talked about Jaden Akins. We talked about the rule changes. And at the very end, I was like, yeah, you know what? Someone asked if the Central game is going to be moved to Friday night. And I said, no, probably not, because last year when they made that announcement for the Western game, it was done in February. So I doubt they're going to change anything. And not even 48 hours after I uttered those words, Maddie May, we got the announcement that it has been moved up to Friday. So that's the news. That's how I'm going to make it about myself, is that once again, we jinx something else on this podcast, but like, bro, it's horrible. I hate it here. But hey,
they should start calling you the Iceman for how cold you make those takes.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Dude, I feel like I'm like, now I have a complex now. I'm starting to get a little nervous. Like if I have an episode tomorrow talking about this incoming recruiting class for Michigan State basketball, the top 5 rated class, the 4 great freshmen, like the next day, they'll all announce that they have converted to Mormonism and are starting their 2-year mission, like effective immediately this summer. Like I'm scared to talk about anything now. I can't even talk about kickoff times. So I'm shook, Maddie.
You're going to just have to turn into a very negative podcast that just everyone, this is your villain origin story. It's too many frozen takes and then go negative simply to will positive news into existence.
That's right. This upcoming season.
Sorry to be here for that. For the fulcrum of it, right? The turning point. So sad to see. You hate to see it.
Yeah, it is what it is. Do you enjoy the Friday night games? Because like I got a very strong opinion on it. I mean, do you have one strong-willed opinion one way or another?
So I usually try to make the home opener and then usually the Michigan game or one other, and it's usually the Michigan game. As a season ticket holder, which is an interesting investment to make these days. But I especially when you don't live in the state, it's a really interesting.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a really interesting investment to make every year, but I somehow do it as a little bit of a blood sacrifice. But
Sure.
Friday games I like. I think I do. Especially as I'm getting older, I can't marathon drink as much as I could on a 6 a.m.
Okay.
To 3 p.m. kickoff game. That basically ruins my Saturday anyway. So for me, a game day is not it's a whole day event, no matter what time of the day I start, because at the end of the day, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can, and I got to take time off and all that.
Sure. That whole thing.
I don't hate them. I think they're kind of, they got the Friday Night Lights stigma of being like a little more like,
it's
oh,
a
that's what high
novelty.
schools play. And then
Yeah.
people love to make that jab. But
that is not nice. You are correct there. That is rude.
But then you kind of get the whole weekend. Like for me, I can go
that's the best part. Right.
I can go to the game Friday, and then if my friends who all have lives beyond Spartan football all want to leave, they can, and then we can spend the night in East Lansing, and then I can be back in Chicago to resume my normal life beyond that. People don't know my secret identity as a MSU football nutcase. So
yeah, fair enough. No, it's just the best, because if you have Labor Day plans, like you could just leave the game Friday and then get up there, and then you got the whole day Saturday, whole day Sunday. You don't got to clog it up with some random noon kickoff, so that's always fun. But one little hack I like to do for these Friday night games to start, because like if it's a Friday night game, you can't start tailgating until 3 or 4, something like that.
Yeah.
Unless, now here's the hack: you book a tee time at Forest Acres East. Let's call it at like noon or 11 a.m.
Ooh.
You start the shenanigans early there on the golf course, get a quick 18 holes in, and then you go to the tailgates. And that's
you might want to cut that just so you don't tell people your secret. That's going to book up quick.
I was going to say, I might call Forest Acres after this recording right now just to make sure we have a tee time, because that's how I got to cruising altitude so quickly at last year's game, is because we did start at like 11 a.m. or noon. So if you're into those festivities of the tailgate, even if you don't golf, just book a tee time.
If you have the time off, I mean, or you have the PTO and you're free with it. I mean, taking a Thursday, like for me, driving up on a Thursday, spending the night in East Lansing on a Thursday, and then leaving even Friday after the game, it's kind of it's like I said, you get your whole weekend, and usually the home openers are pretty kind of by the books game sometimes.
Hopefully.
But you do it. It's kind of more of a celebration of it being back, and then it's almost like you get 2 weekends. But I digress.
No, well said. So, you know what? Before we cut into an ad break here, let's just wet the whistle of the top 5 Connor Cook moments at Michigan State list. I'll give my number 5 moment, and then I'll bounce it to you, and then we'll just talk people's ear off about the number 1 sports book in America.
I'm so excited. I couldn't agree more. He is the most mysterious QB of all time.
God, it is. We'll talk about it later. No, we're talking about it right now. It's a quick statement. I just cannot believe how cool he's gotten since he's graduated, because when he was playing at Michigan State, I thought he was already a 10 out of 10. But ever since leaving, like, his lore has just gotten more mysterious, and like there's a lot of mystique around him. And I'm talking about him as if he's a guy that played in like 1947, but like, no, he played 8 years ago at Michigan State.
He's somewhere. Man, he is somewhere. He's active. He's wandering around. He's like Captain Ron mixed with Bagger Vance. It's like he walked away and a bus passed in the foreground, and we never saw him again. He just instantly disappeared. And that's what makes it so cool, is that he was so vocal and loud, and like a very big part of a very good Michigan State offense. And then one day he just Kaiser Soze. He was gone.
Yep. Right. Do you know what? Actually, that I'm going to switch my 4 and 5 then, because that is my number 4. Is this that he is nowhere to be seen these days, almost. And like, he works somewhere in Ohio. Like, he's doing very well for himself, I think, in real estate. I want to say. But yeah, it's just like, I still let the quarterfinal appearance in IM softball back in college get to my head. And I still let people know about that as well. Like, this guy won 2 Big Ten championships, 2 Big Ten championship MVPs, went to a Rose Bowl, won the Rose Bowl, won a Cotton Bowl. Like, he has every reason to just be as loud online as humanly possible, but no sign of social media, like no sign of flexing all the accomplishments he had in college. It is remarkable just how he just got up, walked away. Yeah, I did my football thing. Now it's just time to move on to the next thing and really not really remind anyone of it. Like, so that's my number 5. Connor Cook.
His real estate
he's done
office
since.
must be bananas when you go in there and go, whoa, it must be full of trophies. Oh, what if it's empty?
Those
what if it
rings?
doesn't have any of it? And they're like, you look familiar, and be like, oh, I get that.
Yeah,
he might be one
I'm not
of those.
him, but I have a story like that at the very end. It'll be part of my honorable mention list, but yeah, so that's my number 5.
I've been watching the latest season of Better Call Saul. He might be at a Cinnabon. You know,
sure,
it's
just
like,
hanging out.
That's kind of how
just
it
chilling.
feels. It's just like, is he just living life like a normal guy? He shouldn't be. But anyway, my number 5 was actually from the his last season when Connor Cook was on top of the world. We had just won the Big Ten and we're going to the college football playoff. And in the interim, someone came out with a rap video and Connor Cook guest stars in it.
I don't remember this. Oh, wow. Oh, let's go. Is that on YouTube still, you think?
I don't know.
Okay.
He is in it, and it's like a cameo spot. And
That's
it's
awesome.
I mean, it's wild to I remember seeing that going, what is he doing? But right on. That's the con man. He's just slinging balls, but then he's also just participating in student arts. He's an artist at heart.
Well-rounded man. There we go. Well, what a roaring start. 2 things that are completely off the field. I promise I have at least one thing that was on the field.
I have one thing on the field too. So
yeah, I think 1, if not 2. But yeah, really quick before we get to the other 8 moments combined between me and Maddie May, 4 from me, 4 from him as well. 4 plus 4 does equal 8. How about that for Spartan math right there? I need to talk your ears off about FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook in the land. Gang, it's a great time to get in on the action of NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, if you will. And if you're more of a regular season person, well, the MLB regular season is back with grand slams, no-hitters, double plays. That's right, they are all back, and there's no better place to get in on the MLB action than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, if you're a new customer, it gets even sweeter for you because new customers step up to the plate with a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Let's go to FanDuel.com/lockedon, sign up, place your first bet, and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win. Do not miss your chance to get in on a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. Again, that is FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up to get a hold of that no-sweat first bet. It's FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball. Now let's get great friend of the podcast back on the show. His name's Maddie May. That's right. Maddie, welcome back. Thank you for not leaving during the break.
No problem. Still waiting in line at Rick's.
Perfect. I hear that there's a special going on. It's $2 Washington apple shots. They really have mixed it up since the 8 years.
This line hasn't moved at all. It is ridiculous.
Glacial. I'm sorry to hear that. Shoot.
It's okay. I can talk more Connor Cook now.
Okay. Really quick. Mine's a quicker one. This is a memory that a lot of people will have this actually happen on the field. The 2014 game against Michigan. This was the drive the stake into the ground game where Michigan did that before the game. MSU was ranked in the top 10, Michigan unranked. Kind of honestly a stale atmosphere in Spartan Stadium, especially for this hated rivalry. Until 3 minutes into the game, Connor Cook lays the wood on Delano Hill of Michigan. The safety gets up, barks something in his face. But like from that point on, okay, it felt like the rivalry was back on. It will be a very fun day of football. And that it was because, well, Michigan State clobbered the Wolverines, and that was very fun. So, yeah, the Connor Cook tone-setting truck stick in the 2014.
Is big. Yes. That was actually my number 3. So So I'm glad we're sighting in on the same areas. So I did have that on field. He smokes him. And then that's just a physical play from a guy who later on would get a shoulder injury, but
correct.
He I think one of my favorite things in that game too, besides Connor just being just an asshole to the Wolverines, is that they're doing I think a replay, or they're talking about the like rivalry and like the Mark D'Antonio and Mike Hart comments and all that, and mid talk they have to cut away because Connor Cook throws a like 30-yard touchdown to Aaron Burbridge on a back shoulder fade along the sideline. Like he literally is throwing dimes during like the announcers going over like the rivalry. And like, oh, never mind. There's a touchdown. Cook the Burbridge. We got to cut away real quick. He just ripped a bomb. So I think that only really got replicated twice before in the 2020 game where they were trying to cut away for a lot of content.
Yeah.
When they don't have a crowd to do anything. And that was very similar. It was like, oh crap, another bomb. But anyway,
plenty of those.
My number 4 is another on-field moment. I think that's the last of my.
Okay.
It is a little game called the Good Cotton Bowl that Michigan State fans like to refer to.
That one.
I think speaking of announcer narratives, I think Connor Cook had thrown 1 or 2 game-sealing interceptions, quote unquote, should have been game-sealing interceptions that the defense was able to battle back, get a stop when they needed to, and then he went on and just kept ripping them and ended up doing a minute drill to get the touchdown with 30 seconds left. I mean, talk about what a game that just defines how that guy friggin' played. Was he never got that emotional. And if you remember, we're coming off of like a Kirk Cousins who, when he threw 1 interception, that meant he threw 4 interceptions. Right. And he still plays like that on the Vikings. And now we get the con man himself throws a cheap interception that he's pissed off about. What does he do? He nuts up. He pulls the ultimate Connor Cook, goes, I don't care. I'm going to keep throwing them. And just starts trucking down the field again. They win the game because of him. The announcers even say it went from him being the GOAT before the GOAT term came to be, but GOAT as in like the guy who got blamed, to being like the star of the game. Is that he went from like, oh crap, Connor Cook just blew the game, to now that's the reason they won. Was he just didn't let it phase him. Was like, send me back out. I'll do it. I don't need this.
That's perfect. So my number 3 is completely different than that last one that you just brought up. My number 3 is the Cotton Bowl comeback, specifically that interception he threw, because just like you said, literally everything right there. We are on the same wavelength right now. This is great because my number 3 is the Cotton Bowl comeback, and it was not awesome like at the time, but then you kind of learn to know that no, it actually was awesome whenever he threw an interception, because it felt like every single big game that they were in, he had a back-breaking interception, like the pick 6 against Stanford in the Rose Bowl. That was not all too fun. He had a few of these throughout his career, but it got to the point his senior year when he had interceptions like that. It's like, okay, cool. He got it out of him. Game on. He's going to be great the rest of the game. The boys are going to be okay. He had that interception in the 4th quarter, and then just, okay, fine. I'll just do 2 touchdown drives, I guess, to have this great historic comeback. That
game was so wild because I remember watching it with friends, and I had a buddy who loves to do the kind of like, here's the scenario how we can still win. And he was naming like 7 steps. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. And then step 1 happened. And then he's like, okay, but still we need to do this. Okay, all we need to do is this, this, and this. And I was like, okay, but we won't. And then step 2 would happen. And I was like, okay, well, we need to block this field goal. I was like, okay, well, we're not going to block it. We blocked the field. It was wild. That's an all-timer game for folks who are feeling down in the dumps. There's a great Andy MSU CMV video that you can just tune on, and that'll really be a great 17 minutes for you. I'm glad we're on the same page of that. But he was always slinging them, and then those 3rd and 10s.
Yes.
I lived in 3rd and 10. He was
yes. That was the best. Yeah, even like that final drive of the game, like the throws before all the great ones, like the touchdown, the big first down that they had to get. Not great throws at all, but like just really, really have to respect the goldfish memory he had. It's like, all right, I just threw one to the 7th row. Okay, well, here comes a dime between 2 defenders in a hole the size of a shoebox, 15 yards downfield for a first down. Like, that's just the Connor Cook experience for you.
He lived play by play. He was a so what, now what kind of guy.
Loved it.
That's how he's living his life. He's like, I'm not a football player anymore. Now I'm going to go do that. Not paying attention to the past. But I think we just answered why we can't find him.
Yeah, this bores me now. That's right. On to the next thing. Yeah. All right. So what was your number 3? Did we already say your number 3 then or no?
My number 3 was the Michigan truck stick.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, that was just a proud moment. I watched that play in I think Beggar's Banquet was where I watched it.
Wow.
Yeah, for those just next door from
just next door to where you're at right now.
Next door. Fun fact about that game is that a Michigan fan showed up in a unitard, like a wrestling outfit.
Yeah.
And by the end of that game, he was sobbing at the bar, and Spartan hospitality really had its way with him because all they did was just laugh at him. He was getting napkins thrown at him. He was literally crying and like was just like
tough.
at the bar, like sad, and people were just like, no one was like, oh, it's okay, man.
Cool. It's not okay.
Yeah,
it's not okay. Actually,
like, leave, just go, like, just get out, man.
Well, I hope he's doing somewhat marginally okay. That's
couldn't care less.
The kindness of my heart. Yeah, there we go. So do you want to rock out your number 2 right now, or should I go number 2? I'm gonna just have you be the host now and make all the decisions. I'm sure.
Poor choice of words, but yes, I will go number 2 with it.
Sorry.
So this is technically on the field. I don't think it's not during regulation, but this is goes to another game. Actually, I was at great story, but Connor Cook did not play against Ohio State in 2015.
Yep.
Connor Cook showed his leadership through signal calling for 2015. When the game ended against OSU in 2015, Connor Cook rushed the field and shushed the student section. A game he didn't play. he took time out of his day to run immediately over and be mean to Ohio State fans.
Yes.
And then
towel around his neck, just silence him.
Big old and it's on camera. It's very on camera. And that was just a hoot and a half. I'll tell you, I got offered free tickets to that game and chose not to go because of how mean Ohio State fans were to me.
Okay.
It was because we found out Connor Cook wasn't playing. My terrible mistake, but we watched that in a house full of all Spartan fans, and Connor Cook, his shushing charged us up to don all of our Spartan gear once again and go out to the bars in Columbus, Ohio, and really make a name for ourselves, which ruffled a lot of feathers. Let's put it that way.
I'm sure.
Had a couple scuffles we had to kind of talk ourselves out of.
Well, they should have just won on their senior day. I don't know what to tell you. Just win the game next time. I did have that. That was my number 1 in my honorable mention, was the silencing the Ohio State crowd. This is why I love having you on. We're always in the same line of thinking here. My number 2 is first and foremost, it's just every option that they ran with Connor Cook. I don't remember a single time that he ever pitched the ball ever in his career. Like that. It was an option just by name only, because it was just Connor Cook's going to run to the left. There's going to be a running back behind him, and that running back will not have the ball the entire possession. But more specifically, the 4th and 2 towards the end of the drive, of course, in 2015, Big Ten championship game against Iowa. 4th and 2, he runs out left for a little nice option, and everyone probably in the stadium at that point knew that ball was not going to get pitched, and he got it.
Allen?
He did. He rolled over and got it by like that much. That was a scary moment, but we all knew that he was going to keep it, and more times than not, ended up working out for a guy Connor Cook and the Michigan State Spartans. So that's my number 2. Is the
I think not to bounce back too much to the truck stick, but that's what made that play so amazing, is that the dude couldn't run. He ran, and it was just like ba-dump, 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 and you're like, oh god, all right.
Here comes a shoulder.
That was kind of the way that offense was set up, was like they didn't expect him to run, so when he did, he could get maybe 3 yards, but he was not doing much with it. But it was kind of like a short yardage, like trick play. It was like, we're gonna have Connor Cook not throw it this time, and everyone's like, whoa. And I think the craziest part with it is how many yards he got in that, like that. I wish he had a touchdown to get with the trucks.
Right.
But regardless, that is a fantastic, is the Iowa game. Cause man, talk about being on pins and needles that entire game. That was,
I wanted to throw up the entire 4th quarter. It was terrible.
No wonder you wanted to go on a rap video after that.
It's cut loose. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. drop the shoulders a little bit after. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
unwind. All right, Maddie May. The world wants to know. The world has to know. Connor
You
Cook,
know
who's
it.
definitely
You know what
100% listening to this, wants to know what was the number one moment of his
You
career?
know 100% what mine is. This is once again just a oh yeah. It's not a it is not an on the field moment. Connor Cook, after winning MVP of the Big Ten championship, vaporizes Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman winner and Ohio State legend, on live television, basically ignoring the man and insulting Ohio State fans who definitely don't remember what Archie Griffin looks like. Could not pick him out of a crowd, but pretended that, oh no, not Archie, anyone but Archie. And forever solidified himself as a legend of MSU douchery and Connor Cook.
Amazing.
He's just the man. He's so friggin' cool that he won MVP and said, hey, thanks, man. Yeah, give me my hardware. Enough. And then gave a great speech, but that's when, folks started giving him shit about his leadership and whatnot. But I still think that's the sign of an alpha. You don't need to be captain to be an alpha. And Connor Cook just took out an Ohio State legend and just let him have it. That's just what a great moment, and proof by your photo you have that he signs it still. That, he loved it. Part of him is there's a bit of a villain streak in him, and he's like, oh yeah. I mean, this is the guy that shushed the crowd. Of course he's going to vaporize. He's going to send Archie into the Phantom Zone and just let him have it. Sit and spin, Griffin. So.
My explanation of why it's my number one is so short. It's just the definition of fig jam, and if you don't know what that means, look it up. And if you don't know what it means even after you look it up, just watch that clip. All right, I'm just here to collect my second Big Ten championship game MVP. Hey, Mr. Griffith, it's great to meet you, or whatever your name is. Have a good time back at the hospitality suite at whatever hotel you're staying at. This is just what I do. I'm Connor Cook. I win. And I win a lot here. So, it was fantastic. Really quick. I had honorable mentions. We had the silencing the Ohio State crowd, of course. One of them was not a good moment, but just a flashback memory I had. It was the opener in 2015 against Jacksonville State. And he got hit below the knee, and he had to leave the game for a hot second. It was not a good situation. I thought that he just blew his ACL out. And the fans, I think they were Michigan fans after the Ohio State game, that sought out the address of the referees after that game back in 2016, I think it was. I sympathize with them because I would have done the same for that defensive end at Jacksonville State had Connor Cook tore his ACL in the first game of the 2015 season. And then the other honorable mention one I had, this is just, about, hey, can he be recognized and all that fun stuff. This actually happened behind you, Maddie. This happened at Rick's. This was later on in my career, and he's at the bar. I'm at the bar. It's hey, both waiting for drinks. Hey, Connor, hey, congrats on a great season, man. Really appreciate everything you've done. He's like, yeah, I'm not Connor Cook, though, man. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, no, that's not me. I'm not Connor Cook. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He leans in. He's like, hey, listen, over there, it's my buddy's birthday, so I'm trying to get all the attention on him today. So if anyone asks, he's Connor Cook, all right? And I'm like, everyone wants to complain about he wasn't a captain. Oh, and this and that. That is a team player right there. That is a certified team player. He was there to hook up his friend that day, and
he's the man.
Didn't work on me, obviously, but I don't. Yeah, it was great. So that's my other good Connor Cook.
I have an honorable mention Connor Cook story. This isn't me, but it's buddies of mine had a bachelor party. I guess I wasn't buddies enough to get invited, but
okay.
It was in
Not
Vegas,
important.
And this was I don't know, a while ago. This is when Connor Cook was still playing for the Raiders. Another honorable mention: Connor Cook's first start was a playoff game, but anyway,
was.
He was still playing for the Raiders, and I forget who he was with, but he's with another guy on the team, and they ran into him in Vegas, and both of them, and they were like, oh my God, it's Connor Cook. It was all, then these are all MSU guys. So everyone's like, oh my God, it's Connor Cook. Holy shit. Dude, oh my God. And his buddies were like, oh, let's get out of here, man. These guys recognize us. Oh, we don't want to be stuck with a bunch of photos. And Connor Cook took a photo with every one of them. He said,
"Oh, that's awesome!
Oh, hell
wow.
yeah! No, I want to.
Wow.
No, I want to say hi to these guys." And so, a man of the people, a man of his friends. Wow. He just has given so much, and like I said, he needs to come back and just be welcomed into the arms of Michigan State University and the fan base that adores him. He's adored. Connor, if you're listening, come on the show. Even though I'm not hosting it, come on. I'll lurk in the chat for it. But
yeah, we'll have you on. You'll be like our sound guy. That's just like also on the call as well. It'll be great.
Yeah, I'll say I'm working the call. I'm making
the board. I'm working the board.
I'll be a assistant producer, something like that.
Perfect. But yeah, man. God, like I talk about him as if he's Johnny Appleseed. Just will forever live in lore. Always the coolest guy. Great player. Awesome memories watching Connor Cook. And
there's not a bad story of there's not a story of Connor Cook where I go, that's lame. It's always something where it just makes me laugh harder or go like, oh my God, he's the friggin' man. Every single time. It's never, you can hear some stuff where you'd be like, oh, like if I heard stuff about like other quarterbacks, if they did anything else, I would be, I'm not going to name names, but you hear some stories and then you're like, oh, okay, well, that's a little lame, but whatever. They're a person. I hear stuff about Connor Cook and I'll be like, yes, the legend lives on. And I just, he's never around to either confirm or deny them. That's the wildest part. So
I want to be him when I grow up. That's it. That's who I aspire to be when I grow up.
I don't know if I'd say hi if I ran into him. I would just go, "Is that you look like a quarterback from," and he would say, "I'm not Connor Cook. It's my buddy's birthday."
Yes, that's right. That guy over there, Mr. 5'11" over there, is Connor Cook. So direct all attention to him. So, yeah, man. But Maddie, this has been sensational. Always sensational. Always love talking to you, man. Always love having you on. Hopefully everyone enjoyed this. Definitely a unique episode. But hey, this is Top 5 Tuesday in the off season. So
this is the off season, baby. You're gonna get a lot of
don't know what people want. Yeah. We're playing Friday night, and Connor Cook was really cool. That's what you get here on Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white every single day. Later on this week, we are going to be talking about our Spartans in the NFL draft. The mailbag is always open, lockedonspartans@gmail.com. But if you don't want to submit any questions, you just want to vibe on this show and listen or watch, hey, thanks a lot for doing that anyway. You guys are the best. Go enjoy it the rest of your day, especially you, Maddie May, especially you, Connor Cook, definitely listening. Love you all. Go green.